All right, all right. Welcome back, everyone, to day 2 of my game dev dailies. And today, my goal is to begin updating my physics script in hopes of making it frame rate independent. That's the goal. So I actually should probably figure out how to cap my frame rate in the game, because I know I can update the VSync here, and I know that this has impacts on my physics, as we can see. However, I should be able to update the frame rate as well. That just mutes. How to change frame rate in Unity. Let's give it a look. I should probably have an MS Paint as well, to be honest. I'll just leave it over there. That's fine. And then, okay, cool. I'll leave that as is. You can use the target frame rate property. What do you call this in the Unity game player? Unity game player. Guess it just does it itself. Unity does frame rate change with VSync. VSync syncs the game's frame rate to the refresh rate of the monitor. Okay, so that's why. There you go. When you are capped at that FPS independent of the target frame rate. Okay, so all that's happening is, I believe, VSync is just syncing the frame rate to 60 frames. Whereas if I don't have VSync on, I'm actually just going ballistic. Okay, so I'm going to try and update the target frame rate. Unity, because I want to do that anyway. I want to be targeting 60 FPS regardless. So how do I do this? It's application.target frame rate. Okay. So if I go into here, and I should be able to just do this in like the physics script. So let's close a whole bunch of these, close all tabs. I'm going to go into the physics script, and I'm going to add, it's kind of not really physics, but this is just where I'll put it for the time being. I'm going to call this frame rate. I don't need to return that. Don't need a getter for that value, and we're just going to do, actually it probably shouldn't be a float, probably should just be an int. I'm going to do application dot target frame rate is equal to frame rate on start. Okay, easy peasy. So I've saved that. Was I showing that? I wasn't showing that. Hold on 1 second. Why is my Visual Studio not coming up? Give me just a second. Properties. Okay, I don't know. There it is. I don't know why it wasn't coming up earlier, but yeah. We've added in a new serialized field for frame rate, and we're setting it when the start runs. So I'm going to exit out of here. I'm going to click on my game controller, which has the physics script. I'm going to set, it should probably be target frame rate, not frame rate, but whatever. I'm going to set it to 60. In fact, I might try setting it to 30 even. And we'll click play. And if I turn off VSync, yeah, there we go. So now we can see this is it at 30 frames per second. Okay, it's actually cool that that works that easily. I can do that, and I have to restart the game to actually get it to work like that. But if I change it to 60, this should more or less mirror what I see in the VSync. Yeah, so this is without VSync, but it's the same physics that I would expect with the VSync on. And this is all fine and dandy. However, I actually want all my physics to run independent of the frame rate because obviously players might be running on devices that cannot run 60 frames per second because they're just, not particularly strong. So we're going to go ahead and update our update function. And so, in order for us to do this, I have to go into the player script. And pretty much all scripts, I need to change update to be FixedUpdate. And I will be changing a whole bunch of these. Entity doesn't actually use it, but I'll leave that as update for now. Physics doesn't use the update either. It's just setting values. Okay, so I'm going to change this to be FixedUpdate instead. And then the last thing I need to do is I actually think I do want the target frame rate to be 60 regardless, which is fine. I'm just going to leave it. So target frame rate will still be 60, but will now be running off the FixedUpdate function. Now, this is not going to work, unfortunately. Because I've tried it before and I know it doesn't work. But we're going to give it a look and see what happens. So, okay. Yeah, so you can see we are very easily able to get trapped in the floor. Now, I think otherwise it does appear to be working fine. So I just need to determine why we're getting stuck in the floor here. And I think it has to do with the fact that we're updating our delta time probably after we do stuff like ceiling check or gravity or whatever. So let's just do a little bit of digging into the code here, right? So we're going to take a look in this gravity function. So this is where we're ending up clipped in the ground of this platform and we cannot get out. Now, why is this happening? We shouldn't be going below the hitbox. So gravity, fall faster if we're in the middle. And what we're going to do is we're actually going to, I'll start the player like higher up so we can see it a bit easier. So we're going to reduce our speed by gravity. Check that there's actually ground under us. If the down hit collider doesn't equal null. So this is just checking for out of bounds because the else here is we're out of bounds because there's no ground underneath us. There should always be a ground hitbox beneath the player character. If you fire off an infinite line, that is. We would always expect to see a ground hitbox. Check if we're going to hit the ground, and if we are, set our speed to 0 and our position on top of the object. Now, this is the bit that doesn't seem to work properly, because theoretically, if this worked correctly, I wouldn't be having this issue. So the question is why, and it only happens when I swap it to FixedUpdate for whatever reason. Set our speed to 0 and our position on top of the object. So this is all I really care about checking is this gravity function. And in fact, what I might even do is I might comment out all the rest of these functions that run, just so we can test this in isolation. If I can do my comment hotkey, I'll literally press every single button except the hotkey that comments the code. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'll still check for inputs because I want to be able to jump, but all I'm really going to be doing here is applying the gravity function. We're not going to do anything else. So we can see as we jump up and down a bit, we get clipped further and further into the ground. Now, the first thing that I want to do is go into the gravity function. We're going to probably just do some logging. So let's do it here. I think it's debug.log. We'll see if this is the one. I can't exactly remember what Unity uses. Debug.log. And then we're going to do about to hit the ground this frame. Okay, and then I probably am also interested in this value. So we'll debug that as well. Debug.log distance to ground, and we're just going to print the down hit dot distance. Okay, so just some basic logging. We're going to try running this in Unity and see what happens. So for the first time in a while, I'm going to open up the console here. So this is actually, okay. Is there an easy way for me to do this? Okay, first of all, I can collapse messages. So here we go. About to hit the ground this frame, distance to ground 0.2. So this is the one time where I actually fell into the floor. If I do it again, actually gave me the exact same. No, it should be giving me new numbers, right? Why is it not hitting this again? That's really weird. It never prints another instance of this log for some reason. What the heck's up with that? Distance to ground. So if I stop this and start it again. Okay, next thing I can do actually, I can come into the frame rate. Well, actually, if I change the frame rate, I actually think it shouldn't, I mean, if fixed update's working properly, changing the frame rate shouldn't actually, yeah, it should run exactly the same. Which means that fixed update is working in that regard, so that's good. But there's something weird going on here. Why? We're like not hitting this code again. If downHit.distance is greater than speed.y divided by 10. So I actually want to check if the distance is 0, because if the distance is 0, I don't want to print the... I don't need to do any of this stuff. If downhit distance is less than speed.y divided by 10, and also greater than 0, right? Because if it's 0, I don't care. No, if it's 0, I do care. I still don't want it to fall through the floor. Alright, so that checks out. Check if we're going to hit the ground. And if we are... Well, we actually should probably... Okay, when do I check gravity? If can move. Do I have like a grounded boolean? I totally do. Am I using this anywhere? Is this being updated? Public is grounded. Am I just never using this? Okay, I'm using this. I have this once. So is grounded. Okay. Because I only have to do gravity if we're not grounded, right? So I can do another if this dot is grounded. I think this works. And I'm pretty sure that's going to run, that's going to return this updated value, the getter. It'll return the value that's stored in downHit. Oh, okay. I can literally just use is grounded. I don't have to specify the is. So if is grounded, oh, actually it's if not, obviously. If we're not grounded, apply gravity. Otherwise, don't do the gravity thing. Okay. If we're grounded, we don't have to run the gravity function. That's straightforward. So what I would expect this to do now, what I'm hoping this will do is, let me clear the debug menu. I should stop seeing the console logs that were saying the distance to the ground is 0. I shouldn't see that anymore if this is working properly. And it is. Okay, cool. That's a minor optimization, which is pretty nice. Oh, and that appears to have fixed this too. Wait, that's all it took to fix the problem. Okay, well, we fixed that issue. Right now, I have infinite max speed and I have no drag, so you can see how that goes. All right. Well, that was a pretty easy fix. We're going to uncomment all the stuff that I had commented. Oh, actually, I should leave the comments commented. So all this stuff we're going to put back. And we're going to run this again. And we fell through the ground. Okay, that's cool. Hit the ground, that's good. Hit the ground, that's good. The ground is good. And sometimes we fall through the ground. Not good. Okay, so now the question is, why the hell do we fall through the ground? So, not ideal. Notably, by adding in this if statement, we're actually no longer having this happen because it's not running. So I think I'm actually going to move this if statement because I'm going to leave in, so I'm going to have it do it on the speed portion, I think. Maybe just this entire function I'll have the if statement around. No, because I want this else to run regardless. Okay, here's what I'm going to do. We're going to check that there is ground underneath us, in which case we should stop falling, and also that we're not grounded. And this way, if we are grounded, set our speed to 0. Set our Y speed to 0, I should say. This is going to happen. Is this going to be an issue still? And not is grounded? Because this will happen after we do input checks. So my concern is I'm going to initiate a jump. And then it's going to see you're on the ground, so set your speed to 0. That's probably not what I want then either. Annoying. I mean, I can just leave it how I had it. How do I get this to work in a way that is actually what I want to happen? So what I want to happen, if there's no ground below me, I'm out of bounds, I don't want to fall. So currently, with what we just tested, we lost that functionality because we're saying if we're not grounded at all, don't run any of the gravity stuff, and the out of bounds checks in the gravity is in the gravity function. So I mean, one thing we could do is pull the out of bounds check outside of it. I don't think I want to do that. So I will note that I can pull this inside of this if statement because it's not like it does anything in the else anyway. So this can actually go up here. That's fine. And then I could probably do the if statement in here. If not is grounded. I think this is going to give me what I'm hoping for. And I'll move all of this code into this if block. So, check that there's actually ground under us. Check that we're not grounded. And then fall faster, which I'm actually going to call apply gravity. And then lastly, check if we're going to hit the ground. And if we are going to hit the ground, then set our speed to 0. Now, for some reason, I'm not hitting this. This is not working properly. And if I had to guess, it's probably due to our box casting not working for some reason. But I'm going to run this now. Okay. I got stuck in the ground. Okay, and it didn't run the function either. So I think if I do a full jump like this, it works. It does. So a full jump gives me the 0.31. Now, depending on when I let go of the spacebar, I will sometimes fall through, as we've done here. And as soon as I fall through, I break. And so this has something to do with the speed at which we're falling. I'll be back in 2 seconds. So I'm wondering if it's due to this box class we're doing, because down hit is being called off this box cast, which means it must not be like what's actually happening here. I don't get to this debug point because this if statement is not true is basically what's happening. And because this isn't true, then we fall through the platform. We fall through the hitbox of the floor. Apply gravity speed minus equals. Because that's the only thing that's really in effect here. Is this if statement. Because it's applying this speed, but it's not setting the speed to 0 because it doesn't get to this point. And then what ends up actually catching it is this. This is what catches it, but by this point it's too late. We've already fallen through the floor. So obviously not ideal. And not what I want to be happening. So the question is, why is this if statement evaluating to false? If the downHit.distance is less than negative speed.y divided by 10. Why am I dividing this by 10? Negative speed.y. Physics.gravity. This is what I'm curious about as well, actually. What is this value set to? Gravity I have set to 0.4. So where did this divided by 10 come from? I got this from somewhere. Speed minus equals new vector 2 physics.gravity. If I had to guess, it's like that because distance to ground 0.2 or 0.3. No, why am I dividing this by 10? down hit dot distance. So as far as I'm aware, in Unity, each one of these boxes is 1 unit. So it's getting called about 0.3 higher than this hitbox. And the hitbox is this one on the top here, this like thin green hitbox. So the frame, not even the frame, the fixed update where it's calling it is about 0.3 of a box above it. So it's probably about here where it sees, hey, I'm about to fall through. So instead of falling through, set my value to this. And the rest of this work is intended because it just sets it to the down hit dot distance. So I guess what I want to check next is what's my speed? Debug.log. And why am I dividing it by 10? Distance to ground speed is the next thing I'm going to do. Plus neg speed.y. I can do speed.y. It'll just give us what it is in negative, which is fine. Okay, so let's run this. Clear the console. What do I get? The speed is -4. And then I divide it by 10 to get -0.4. And so what happens if I don't divide it by 10? Because I still have no idea why I'm doing that. What if in this check I just don't divide it by 10? What will that do? I assume I'm going to like jump. Yeah, I'm going to zip downwards. Is what happens. Now what I'm really curious is where did I get this number from? Can I do the zip again? Yeah, I zip from about here. Okay, divided by, I mean, what if I do 9.8? That's like the gravity value, no? Am I capable? I can still fall through the floor, so it has nothing to do with that. I don't know where I'm getting 10 from, but and I really should figure this out. Physics.gravity. Oh, it's because that's what I multiply. Oh, it's this, right? Except it's 8, so it should probably be 8. Which just means that it should be a constant that I'm defining. But that must be what it corresponds to. Because I just have this like multiplier here. Which is dumb. But I have this multiplier here, and it probably needs to align with this one. Would be my guess. And it's probable that if I'm not using FixedUpdate, the update function runs fast enough that even though there's a discrepancy here, like 8 to 10, it's running fast enough when FixedUpdate isn't on that it can account for the gap. But I think what's happening is that when I turn on FixedUpdate, instead of running 60 times per second, it only runs 50, and 50 is not enough sometimes. Okay, I'm hoping that this works, and if it does, I'll have to set this value here to be a constant that I can update. Fingers crossed that this works. Play. Okay. Damn, I really thought that's all it was. Let me try again, but not No, I can still absolutely fall through. Shit, I really thought it was that. It's only if I like short hop as well. Oh my god, this is a pain in the ass. Okay, so transform position is my vector 3. Why is it a vector 3? Oh, because when you do transform position, that's what you have to do it by. Yeah, okay. You can't add a vector 2 to this. So I just cast it as a vector 3 with z being 0. Yeah, okay, fair enough. So the vector 3 speed multiplied by 8 multiplied by time.delta time. I probably also need to be accounting for this then. So basically, this is the amount that I'm going to move the character. It's their speed multiplied by 8 multiplied by time.delta time. Right? That's the amount that I actually intend to move the character. So why am I dividing? Shouldn't I be multiplying? Speed.y. This is running on the fixed update. It's running after the gravity. In fact, this probably shouldn't even be in the gravity script to begin with. This should probably be like a collision check. And I have ceiling check and wall check all be part of it. I think would be the better way to handle this. Ceiling check. I do the same thing divided by 10. Wall check, same thing divided by 10. So this if statement is definitely not working as I need it to. So speed. Okay, distance to ground 0.4. Speed is -3. How does this make sense? If my speed is -3, then aren't I gonna move it like a bunch? Oh, because the time.delta time must be a fraction. Right, okay. So I'm gonna do it like this then. I'm just gonna copy this value, because this should theoretically be what I'm doing. So let's do this. Times 8 times time.delta time. Yeah. Okay. And then I will probably have that be a value that I can update. Anyway, I'll do that in a second. So hopefully this will solve the problem. Okay, promising. It looks like we have solved the issue. Okay. That feels good. We got there eventually. Okay. This is what happens when I just don't use... I mean, this is like, again, set up when I had no idea what the difference between update and fixed update was, so I'm learning all this shit now. But hey, we've learned stuff. So I have to do all of my checks based off of... This is effectively what we're actually going to transform the player by. Now, there's more stuff I have to do. because now I want this to be a value. So I'm going to have a new public, I guess it's going to be a vector 3. Actually, is it a vector 3? What's time to delta time? It's just this is just the float, right? Okay, it's just going to be a float then. Public float. And I'm going to call it speed factor, we'll say. And also this is ground, it's going to have a capital. And this property is just going to have a getter. Like this. No, like this. Okay, get there eventually. And it's going to return basically that value. Now, I also want to put on... Do I have physics defined somewhere? So what is physics defined in gravity and drag? So where do I use gravity? Physics.gravity. Okay, I have it defined here. Okay. So I'm going to have another value in the physics thing called like speed factor, I guess. Is there a reason that I would want this, or should I just make it be a constant? Does this need to be editable? Like, I guess. Also, should it be on the physics file? It probably should be on the physics file. Yeah, okay, I'm going to put it here for now. I might move it later if it makes more sense to move it around, but for now, I'll put it here. I'll call it speed factor. And I'll make a getter for it, public float speed factor, get return speed factor. Yep. Thank you, Visual Studio. This is going to return physics.speed factor. In fact, now that I'm looking at this, there's literally no reason for me to do this because I can just return it here. Abilities to adjust them in the future. Yeah, so like, but this is only going to be for entities. Also, like, I didn't know if, like, I don't know if this is actually going to be something I would adjust, though, is the thing, Warwick. Like, would I actually want to adjust this speed value? I mean, I guess. But I have a speed vector here as well. Actually, this is not something I set. Like, physics doesn't have a speed thing in here, so I guess it makes sense to have it be its own thing that you can adjust. Anyway, we're going to, where are we? If I go back into the FixedUpdate, so instead of using this now, oh, I guess I have to actually, assign this value. Oh, that's kind of annoying. No, right. Okay, that's what I want to do then. So I do actually want to have this speed factor thing, but it's going to be physics.speedFactor multiplied by whatever the time.delta time. Okay. And so that's what our concept of speed factor is going to be. And then semicolon. Okay, and then all I have to do here is, rather than this, I can just refer to speed factor. And then why do we do this? Speed times the speed factor times the speed factor, and here as well times the speed factor. Okay. And that should be fine. I don't think we're doing it anywhere else. There's no other like random ass divide by tens. This needs to be a capital I. Okay, and then with all this, it should hopefully just work, I would assume. If I hop back in, all compiler errors need to be fixed. Player does not contain a definition if it is grounded. I thought I fixed that. I did fix that. Is it being used elsewhere? I guess it's being used elsewhere. Entity. Control F is grounded. Entire solution. Let's match casing. A2 jump. Oh, there you go. I guess it's being used in some of the spells. Yeah, okay. I should just do a find and replace, let's be honest. That would be a lot faster. 10 occurrences. Yeah, okay. Good thing I didn't do it manually like a dumbass. Okay, cool. And we will hop back into Unity. And I'm not falling because I haven't assigned the speed factor. The speed factor is currently 0. Okay. So I believe I had it set to 8 was what I was happy with. Hey! It looks pretty choppy. And I guess it's fine. So I can like try and target a frame rate of like 120. Yeah, that looks way smoother. Okay, I will point out as well that sometimes I press the spacebar and it just doesn't jump, which is a little annoying and probably not great. So I guess I'll try and debug that next. I would say it's about half the jumps don't work. I assume my spacebar is being picked up by my mic. It's like about half the time it just fails to jump. So let's see if we can figure that one out, huh? Otherwise, the rest of this appears to be working fine. I'm targeting a 120 frame rate, which maybe I won't need to, but I'll leave it like that for now. That's fine. I'm surprised 60 looks so choppy though. Like, really? It looks way choppier than I would expect. Maybe not. Maybe I'm just tripping. It's just because I'm like looking really closely at it. It's not that bad, I guess. I mean, 120 is of course twice as smooth, but you know, it's fine. Okay, I'm gonna head back into. Where are we? Into here. Okay. We need to figure out this jump issue. So the jump happens on check inputs, and it is the jump key that we care about. Check that we are holding down the jump key, that we are currently jumping, and that we have not exceeded our jump height. This is, we're holding down the jump key, we are jumping, and we're not. And this is to do the ignore gravity. Okay, but I think this bit is working fine. What I do care about is this initial jump. So you can see here the jumping only gets set to true after we do the initial jump, which it sometimes isn't. Check if you're on the ground. Well, guess what? I have a thing for that. I have is grounded. Rather than using down hit dot distance is equal to 0. I can use is grounded instead. I don't think that's going to make a difference because I'm pretty sure it's literally the exact same thing that I was using before. Yeah. I don't know why sometimes it just doesn't work. Like here it's working fine. No, I'm still missing a couple here and there. It's really strange. Okay. We're gonna debug.log. Spacebar pressed. And we're gonna do another one. I'm gonna toss one in the else, which I'm just gonna put, oops, So this is where it doesn't think we're grounded, but we press the space bar. And it might just be that our jumping isn't set to false yet. Oh, it has to like wait a frame. So is it like if I do a 1 frame jump? Check that we are holding down the jump key. We are currently jumping. Okay, so what I'm realizing is, imagine if I jump for a singular frame. What's going to happen is, it's not going to call this because it skips over the sustained jump stuff. No, but this is always setting jumping to false. Okay. So there's a difference between get key and get key down. Get key is just checking if the key's pressed, whereas get key down checks if the key was pressed to this frame, is the difference. So we can use get key as a way to check if we're holding down the jump key rather than just pressing it. Check that we are holding down the jump key. We are currently jumping, and that we have not exceeded our jump height. And if any of these things are false, then we're not jumping. Jumping is false. Okay. Check that we've pressed the jump key this frame. Check if we're grounded. In which case, apply jump force, which is this. Where does jump force come from, actually? Where do I set this value? I'm setting this here. So a bunch of this stuff should be on physics. All this stuff really should be on physics. I should move it over there at some point. Okay. Now, I mean, I've added in this debug, so we can take a look at what it says. So, I should actually remove those logs as well. I'll do that really fast. The old logs we were looking at, which was here, I'm going to delete all of these because they're currently cluttering our logs. Okay. So I'm going to press the jump key. Spacebar pressed 5 times. Oops, 4 times. How did this return? How did this get run 5 times? Returns true during the frame the user starts pressing down the key. Okay, I think this is an issue because this should actually not be in a fixed update. This should actually be in the regular update. Because what this means is that this is going to get called multiple times per. So basically this check inputs has to happen in its own. This should be happening in its own update function, I think. Because this should only get called once a frame. Yeah, what I'm assuming is happening here. Where's check input up here? We are calling returns true during the frame. If our frame rate, if the fixed update's happening multiple times a frame, it'll be called multiple times, even when that's not true. Returns true during the frame the user starts pressing down the key. I think that's right. I mean, I can test it, but I imagine that's what's happening. Weird that it's called 5. Okay, that time it got called once. Once. That time it wasn't even registering me pressing space. Didn't even register. Didn't register there. Okay, so the issue is just that it's not even registering. Not even registering the space key being pressed. And again, I think it's probably due to the fact that this needs to be pulled out now. So I have fixed update. And I also want to just have the update. Let me make sure that's what it looks like. Yeah. I'll just copy that with the comment. Yeah, it was the same, right? Yeah, okay. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this out. I feel like this is going to cause issues. I don't think this is going to work properly. But I'll try it. I'll see what happens. That's fine. Okay, it appears to have solved my problem. Now, my concern is... And maybe I shouldn't have any concerns. I mean, it just looks to be working fine. Okay, I think it's all good. I can move my character around. It hasn't dropped a single input yet. Okay, I think we're just good. Thankfully. Alright, so that does appear to have solved the problem. Now, what I'm kind of concerned about is that I feel like I'm probably... prior, I had the guarantee that the check inputs, all the physics stuff that happens in check inputs would get ran before any of this stuff. And now I don't think I have that same guarantee. But I could be wrong. It could just be the same thing. If I can move, then calculate gravity, calculate drag, calculate top speed. I don't like that I'm not calculating. But I always do ceiling check and wall check. Don't like that I'm not doing the bottom check here. I think I should always be doing these. Yeah, I'm going to make a new function right now, actually. I'm just going to call it collision checks. Collision checks. And collision checks is going to be these two plus the part of gravity that checks collisions all put together. I'm going to get rid of this. That's fine. Get rid of this else statement. Don't need that. Okay, so we're going to combine ceiling check with wall check. And we're also going to put in this. So it'll be floor, ceiling, walls. And this is going to be called I think I just called it collision check, not collisions. Collision checks. And then I get rid of wall check. This has been renamed, and I took the other part out of the gravity section. Okay, and now we just have a set of collision checks, and gravity happens independent. And this I'm a little more happy with now, because I'm still doing the floor collision check, even if I can't move. Which is probably good. Should always be checking if we're about to collide with something and stopping the player from colliding with it. Oh, not from colliding with it, but from going through the object. Okay, so are we happy with this now? If I hop back into the game, let's just make sure everything runs happily enough. It all looks pretty good. I can do the zip zap thing. I think I'm going to just double check. So I suspect stuff like this. I mean, it appears to still be working fine. I fell through the wall. Interesting. Is that always going to happen? All right, it only happened that time. Yeah, so I think this is because I have to move some of this stuff into fixed update as well. So I'm just going to go through the rest of... the scripts and just check which ones are using regular update instead of fixed update, and I will probably swap them over. Okay. So all these scripts are fine. Projectiles are the ones that I'm mainly concerned about. Enemy has nothing in it. UI. This is every frame. This is correct. This should be on every frame. So that's all good. And let's go through the spells. A1 dash doesn't have an update. I don't know if any of these are actually going to have an update. So what does have an update is the spell, the parent class. Oh, actually, it doesn't even use an update. There you go. Okay, well, does anything override the update then? Actually, I do know what does. These spells use the update. Yeah, so it's this stuff that I'm thinking I probably need to into fixed updates. And these have constants all over the place. Which is not great, because I shouldn't be using a whole bunch of constants. I need to update this mana regen thing as well. Ugh, every time I see me manually setting this, it's so dumb. I think this should be fixed update. Check if we're channeling that the indicator's been set. Recast downwards. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this should be in a fixed update. So let's go back to the spell class as well. And this is a perpetual void. It should look like that, I think. Fixed update instead of regular update. That's how it wants to lay that out. Okay, it's not going to complain about this anymore. So that's the wall. Fireball doesn't use it as flamethrower. It does. Fixed update. And I don't think chain uses the update. No, it doesn't, but heal does. And so does jump. Actually, no, jump doesn't. Okay, it's just heal. Count is equal to 66. Oh, this is dumb. Okay, FixedUpdate's currently being called I think it's 50 times a second. So I had this set to 66 for some reason. I don't know why. Check that we've reached the initial count. If player.matter. And then I set it back to 60. Okay, I'll leave it as is, but these values should be tweaked. We're doing some count stuff, and like now that we're changing how often we call this function, it's obviously going to change. I did previously this was tied to the frame rate, so if your frame rate was higher, you would just heal faster, which is kind of dumb as shit. But whatever. Yeah, no wonder like stuff like VSync causes so many weird issues in speedrunning and stuff, because so much like physics crap gets accidentally tied to it, and then you just have loads of issues. Okay, I think that's all that I needed to update. So let me hop back. Oh, actually, no, that's not. I need to check these. Yeah, these guys. I think I'm just putting these in FixedUpdate and calling it a day. I'm wondering if you can ever have 2 FixedUpdate frames called per one regular update. Like, you probably can, right? And then it, like, jumps, which is probably look dumb, but whatever. So I think I'm just going to set all these projectiles to be using FixedUpdate. And then I'm going to remove this comment, actually. Flamethrower. FixedUpdate. Peas. I want to use FixedUpdate. Small chain, which is literally just the regular chain, except it's after it, the initial one, like the initial chain projectile. At the start of the update, the original chain projectile is a bit bigger than the other ones, which is you can see pretty clearly if I spin this up. So which one's my chain? It's this. Yeah, so we can see that one's like reasonably big, and then when it zaps out, it's like a bunch of smaller ones. I think I need to make them faster, I'll be honest. I'm pretty happy with like how it like zips around actually between the different enemies. Okay. So, what are other things that I want to do this session? I think I want to clean up. The console keeps complaining about the fact that I have bad things in the editor. And that is in regards to some of my particles it doesn't like. So let me see where I'm doing that. I think it's like in here. Yeah. This emit.emission rate. I need to figure out how to fix this. So emit is a particle system. Particle system emit. And it's telling me that this emission rate is obsolete now. Emission rate property is deprecated. Use emission.rate over time. So emit.emission.rate over time, not rate multiplier. Rate over time. That's what it wants me to use. Can't do this because it's not a variable. Then why are you telling me to use it then? Huh? Let's go to the docs. Okay, I'm going to have to actually look up Unity. Particle system emission rate is obsolete. Particle emission rate is obsolete. Unity. Particle system.emission rate is deprecated in favor of particle system.emission. But the docs don't mention what part of emission. I see a mode which can be set to constant and a constant min, the constant max, and a min max curve. Still know how to get rate value. For example, when I'm going to set rate value, I have to use min max curve. Values in the module cannot be set, e.g. get component dot emission dot rate. Can be set when assigning the module to a local variable. It works with kind of a pain. Thrilling content I'm providing here. I'm just reading through documentation on how people are resolving this problem. Let me just look at the docs. There's docs for it. Particle system is equal to get component dot particle system. var em is equal to particle system dot emission. Em dot enabled is true. Em dot rate over time is equal to 20.0f. Particle system dot emission dot rate over time. But it says I can't do this. Cannot modify the return value because it is not a variable. It's just a getter. But they literally modify it in the docker. Like, hello? What in the world? Unity. What's going on here? Oh. That's so dumb. var em is equal to emit.emission. And then I can do em dot rate over time is equal to 0f. What the heck? Unity, why though? This is so dumb. Why did they do this? What the heck? Okay, I don't know. I'm gonna stop discussing this though because I've solved it. So we're just gonna go to where we're actually using that. So where am I also doing particles? Was it just that? I mean, I think it's elsewhere. Well, what did it used to be? I can just look for emit. I should find... Okay, flamethrower here as well. Where are we? Small chain. Small chain also has it apparently. Save flamethrower. Small chain. I think it's just small chain and flamethrower. Yeah, it is. There's like a find all. It's like Control R or something, right? What is the... I should remember what that hotkey is. Search. Oh, I can literally just click that and then do this. Yeah, okay. That's what I was looking for. And then it shows you all the files. What's the hotkey for this? Control T. I said it was Control R and I was so close. Okay. Cool. So that's gonna stop whining in my compiler, I would hope. These compiler whines are gonna go away. There's still one more. Oh, chain also has it. I don't know how I missed that as well. Okay. So that's done. Alright. Do I want to do anything else at the moment? I mean, I'm kind of happy. I mean, so, like, I've only been streaming like an hour, but... Oh, I didn't record this one. Oh, shit. I can just download it off Twitch, though. That's annoying, but alright. I have to download it and then re-upload it. I was supposed to local record. Whoops. At least I'm actually streaming. Would have been more awkward if I was local recording, but I forgot to stream it. Okay, that's fine. What else was I gonna do? Well, yeah, I think that's it. I think that's it for tonight. Streaming a bit over an hour. I updated everything to use FixedUpdate, so it's framerate independent now. We resolved this issue with the particle system. Tomorrow, what's my goal? I think tomorrow we want to try... We're gonna, like, actually write some code, probably. Write some new code, that is. Do I want to try and make a new spell? Maybe I'll go over... Tomorrow might just be, like, a more designy type thing, which would probably be a bit more interesting for people to watch. I think instead of doing any programming, I'll actually go over like the current spells that I have and what I'm intending to add. But I think I want to work along the lines of getting most of the spells set up and working, and then probably having a bit more interesting level geometry. Maybe we can work on like scrolling the screen around the character and whatnot. I think that's pretty. Actually, I think that would take all of 2 seconds, but yeah, stuff like that. We can make like a really basic level. I think would be cool. That the player can just like jump around in, and then I guess at some point we'd just make some basic enemies as well. All that stuff is pretty straightforward, so I can write a lot of that reasonably quickly. But yeah, I think tomorrow we'll just do like designy stuff. I'll go over the spells, and maybe the day after we'll work on actually making one of them. Okay. I think that's going to be my plan. But that will be it for today. Yeah, I mean, the stuff we did tonight's going to it's going to avoid me having a lot of headaches going forwards. So that'll be nice. Because now I don't have to worry about any of like this VSync or frame rate crap. It should just all work now, which is cool. Okay, well, thanks anyone who stopped by for tuning in. Tune in tomorrow, approximately the same time, where I will do daily number 3. Yeah. My plan is to just keep these up and do them as many days of the year as I can. And we'll see what we have by the end of the year. Alright, peace out. Have a good one.